everybody, I'm Megha and I'm a biology expert here in the askIITians, and I have some really good points to tell you about your exams and syllabus, your CBSE exams, NEET exams, science Olympiads and so many more things to whichever class belong to. So let's not waste any more time and get on with it.
Then let's start with the discussion of the chapter Sexual Reproduction and Flowering Plants, right? That is in forms. This chapter contains, let's say, 8.51% of the entire NEET exam botanical part. That accounts for 16 marks itself, which is a huge chunk of marks. And even in the CBSE board exams, you'll be able to see the important questions of 4 to 5 marks from this chapter itself, right? So let's say 10 to 12 marks will be accountable in the CBSE board exams as well. Now, the topic which I have chosen for today's video is the double fertilization. It is very important for you guys to understand that this is the main event in most of the angiosperms, right? Because without this event, there will be no formation of the zygote and the endosperm. If we look at the parts of the flower of any angiosperm, any flowering plant, so see we have the female reproductive part, which is called as the pistil, and we have the male reproductive part, which is called as the stamen, right? So female reproductive part consists of an ovary, which is right here. This is called as the ovary. It has a stigma which acts as the landing platform for the pollen grains, which are the male gametophytes produced from the stamen. We will come to that. And then it has the style, right? This is the entire pistil. And apart from that, if we talk about the stamens right here, stamens have the anthers. These anthers contains a lot of pollen grains which are basically going to fertilize the female ovary, which is a female ovary, and all the ovules, right? And it has this large filament. This filament is basically upholding the entire stamen into the air or into whatever habitat the flower is present for the easy pollination. Now, to understand this entire process, we need to go and see the very good video that I have here for us, right? So we'll just move with the double fertilization in flowering plants, and I'll be dictating through the entire video. Now, if we see the cross section of this entire plant, we'll be able to see the image that I was writing on just now. Now, this is the exact image in which we discuss the ovary, style, stigma, filament, and anther. That is the female reproductive part and male reproductive parts respectively, right? Now, if we look inside the ovary basically has 4 megaspore mother cells, right? 4 megaspore mother cells, that is the MMC. Megaspore mother cells, you see 3 degenerate and only 1 is left, which accounts for making the entire ovule, okay? 1 megaspore mother cell is left, which makes the ovule. It is very easy for you guys if you make the flow charts while learning, because it will make the learning very systematic and organized, right? Now, what happens in the ovule, how the division happens of the nucleuses and all these cells, let's go through it. Now, this is the 1 megaspore mother cell, and it will soon divide into the 4 megaspore mother cells, right? That you see here. Now, out of these 4 MMCs, 3 will degenerate and only 1 will remain. This 1 megaspore mother cell will occupy the entire space and the nucleus will start dividing. The nucleus will start dividing till the 8 nucleate stage, that is, the total 8 nucleus will be present without the division of a single cell. So this particular stage is called as the 8 nucleate stage, and you can count the number of nucleus inside the megaspore mother cell, which is quite interesting, and this is the most important topic again, if I am to remind you quickly, right? Now, these nucleus, they start arranging themselves inside the megaspore mothers and they start forming the particular cell walls around some of them. Now, this structure will continue entire formation of the ovule, which you see right here, right? Now, this is the entire ovule, which is present in the 60% of the angiosperms, and we need to know how and where the parts of this particular ovules was present. So I have this picture right here with me. You see inside this, I'm just going to draw this. So inside this, these 3 cells are the antipodal cells, right? These will help in the endosperm formation. This is the entire central cell, which has 2 nuclei, and these 2 are the synergid cells. These synergid cells They help in the formation of angiosperm and they help in the guidance of the pollen grain into the ovule. And this right here, my friends, is the egg cell. This egg cell is responsible for the formation of the zygote. Now, it is important for you people to understand that this is the chalazal end of the entire ovule, and this is how we write it, chalazal end. And the one end where the egg cell is present, this particular end is called as the micropylar end. And whenever the pollen tube is to enter inside the pollen grain, it enters through the micropylar end. Now understand this thing, that this particular ovule is the structure which is present in at least 60% of the angiosperms or the flowering plants. Right? Now let's continue with the video. Here we go. Now see, that is all about the entire ovule that we see here. After this particular ovule, we will go into the male reproductive parts. The black pigment that you see here, the black rod that you see here is the filament which is holding it up in the air, and these brown parts are the anthers. These anthers will have multiple pollen grains that you see here, the yellow dots. Now I will show you an important structure of the pollen grains, right? You need to know what is present inside the pollen grain. So let's go back. This is the frame that we had there, right? So you see, these are the pollen grains which are present in the anthers, and these pollen grains will have the generative nucleus or the generative male gametes, which will be forming the zygote after the fertilization, which will be responsible for the fertilization, and this is the pollen tube nuclei. Now see, pollen tube nuclei is very big and it makes most of the part of the cell, and it is responsible for the generation of the pollen tube through the entire length of the stigma, right? Now let's get back to the video right here. You see, in this video, these pollen grains will be pollinated with the help of the air in this case, and they will land particularly on the stigma. And after landing on the stigma, the pollen nuclei will be responsible for the growth of the pollen tube. The one that you see here is the pollen tube, and this pollen tube is being followed by the male nuclei or generative male nuclei. Now we have moved one frame ahead, and I will explain you how exactly this goes, right? So this right here is the pollen tube growth. One very good and main event happens while the pollen tube is entering through the micropylar end, as discussed earlier. This particular pollen tube will have not two but one pollen, which will divide mitotically, mitotic division, which is also called as the simple division or the equational division, and it will end into the two pollen gametes, right? These two pollen gametes will be haploid. That means they will have only one copy of the chromosomes or only half the number of the chromosomes, right? And these will enter through the micropylar end that has already been discussed, right? I hope you'll remember it till the end. Now let's get back. This is how the division occurs, which I have already explained it to you people. Now see, inside this, the pollen tube nucleus will be released, and it will lead into the degeneration of the one of the synergids, right? And after this degeneration, the two pollen nuclei will emerge. Now in this stage, you can see one pollen nuclei going inside the egg cell for the fertilization, and you can see the other polar nuclei emerging out of the pollen tube and going for the nuclei present in the central cell, right? Now it is very important for you people to understand, I'm so sorry for that. Now it is very important for you people to understand that this entire structure which you see right here, this will be forming the egg, and this fertilization is called as the syngamy, and it will result into the zygote formation, right, which is the main event basically. And this particular formation or this particular let's say fertilization is called as the triple fusion because of the two nuclei of the female gametophyte, and one nuclei of the male gamete, right? The two nuclei from the ovule and one nuclei from the pollen tube, right? So this is called as the triple fusion, and this will result into the form of the endosperm. Now, endosperm here will act as the food reserve for the seed, my friends, right? So it is very important. That's that. Now let's get back to the video. Now before the video, there's one more important point that I need to discuss with you guys. At the beginning of these synergids, we have finger-like projections. These finger-like projections are called as the filiform apparatus, which help in guiding the pollen tube inside the ovule, right? Now let's get back to the video and let's just finish it, right? So you see this fusion is occurring. The fusion which is happening with the egg will be forming the zygote. The fusion which is happening with the triple fusion will be forming the endosperm, and that is all about the double fertilization in the angiosperms, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and for more interesting topics, stay tuned and get with us, and we will help you grow remarkably in your future with the exams and whatever career opportunities and whatever career orientations that you have. Thank you so much.